Hello there, welcome to another great video game ideas not used podcast, GVGINU for short. As always, I'm Andre, and it is a pleasure to share my thoughts with you. So right out the gate, Nintendo announced something kind of big in their direct for 2012, 12, 18, 2013. And that game is Hyrule Warriors, which is sort of like a blend of Dynasty Warriors and The Legend of Zelda. It's not a game that fits into the main timeline, main story, but it is an awesome looking action adventure type game. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I want to see it and see what they do with it. But from the trailer I've seen, it looks really fun. It looks awesome. It looks like it would be an amazing game to play. I hope they make it multiplayer. It would be awesome if they made it multiplayer. I'm not going to hold them to doing that, but I think it would be an awesome game if they made it multiplayer, or at least online multiplayer. And I hope that they add some other key characters from The Legend of Zelda as like main playable characters for this specific game. I mean, since it's not part of the main timeline, and it doesn't really matter anyway, because universally things change in that timeline no matter what. It would be interesting to see what other characters they might drop in to be lead characters with your own troop of Hylian. Is it Hylian or Hyrulean? I think it's Hylian. Hylian soldiers that follow you. It would be fun, and it would be actually pretty cool. Like, you gotta see the trailer. You see Link fighting these gigantic monsters and these armies of monsters, and he has the soldiers behind him and they're fighting alongside him, which is one of the things that's interesting about it, because you don't see that in any of the normal Legend of Zelda games, and not in any of them. It's always Link by himself. So that kind of piqued my attention. It made me excited for it. But I gotta move on because there's more to talk about. The second game that Nintendo presented in their direct was Kirby Triple Deluxe. Now there is an indie game that was just announced on the PSP, which was on the 3DS, but I cannot remember the name of this game whatsoever right now. It has Kirby Triple Deluxe. I'm pretty sure somebody will figure out what I'm talking about. Has a sort of similar playstyle to it. If watch the trailer, you'll probably figure out what game I'm talking about. I just can't think of the name right now. There's new abilities, some new enemies and things like that. Like, Kirby games have always been sort of like a solid in play and gameplay. I mean, everybody look at him, he's a big pink ball, but I mean, his games have always been pretty decent, whether you like him or not. But it's one of those I would look into picking up. Plus, it has the Kirby Fighter mini game mode in it. It has another mode in there where you play as King Dedede too, but I don't really care about that one so much. It's just more like music or rhythm based. I'm not really so worried about it. But the Kirby Fighter mode is sort of like a mini Smash Bros game. It really looks like that. if you actually watch it and pay attention to it, it looks like a mini Smash Brothers game. Where you got like 4 different Kirbys of different colors using different enemy abilities. I think they said there's like 10 or 12 abilities that you can choose from to play as. It looks interesting. And like I said, it just makes Kirby Triple Deluxe look even that much more appetizing to play. They also talked about Yoshi's New Island. I've never really been big on Yoshi's Island games. Not like I have anything against them. I just never really been that interested in them. But this one kind of makes me want to go ahead and pick it up and play it. So I'm hoping it's as good as it looks. And they announced Chibi Robo Photo Finder. That looks more like... It looks like that game itself is more inclined for children to play, because it's like more or less real world things that you have to take pictures of with your 3DS, and it like there are items that you have to find, and you have to take a picture of the silhouette of the item, and then the character will be able to do things with the item in game. It's a concept that's interesting, just not really my cup of tea. Then they made an announcement for Pokemon Bank and Poke Transporter, and I'm not really going to talk too much about those because I guess the names kind of are self-explanatory. Then they moved on to Bravely Default, which they made an announcement of a demo, which really isn't, I wouldn't consider it a demo. It's sort of like a side story prior to the game. Sort of like how Dead Rising 2 K0 was to Dead Rising 2, even though this you don't actually have to pay for. It's free to download this and play it so that you can get the hang of how Bravely Default will play, more or less. And they also have this sleep mode where if you have the game on but you have your console asleep, your handheld asleep while the game is in and on, you build up these sleep points that you can use that will add to your character's abilities and attacks. And like that's actually an interesting concept to see that they would do something like that, but I don't know how it really works. I mean, it looks like something I would play though, and I'm pretty sure I would enjoy it very thoroughly. Then they talked about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, but everybody pretty much knows everything that needs to be known about that game right now, so no point in me talking about it. And there was an announcement for Sonic Lost World DLC, which, as far as I know, one will be free. My phone's going off. There's a free one that I think is out now for Sonic Lost World. It's a Yoshi's Island level that you can download and play. It's actually it's a side scroller rather than in full 3D. They didn't say anything about the other downloadable level. I'm going to assume it's probably Mario, probably pertaining to Mario 3D World. Hopefully it is, because that would be awesome. And they announced golf for Wii Sports Club, and I'm not really worried about that, so moving on. This is interesting to me, which is the NES remix. Like, look this up, because it actually looks pretty interesting. And yes, everything is in classic 8-bit style, but you really gotta look up this game. It looks pretty damn interesting. It might be really fun to play. Just my take on it. Dr. Luigi. I really didn't think they need to do something like this, but they did it anyway. So, they made a Dr. Luigi game. Sort of like Dr. Mario, just with some added features that weren't in Dr. Mario, and I'd just say go ahead and look it up. Again, that particular one is not really my cup of tea. Then they announced Rosalina through a trailer in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. I see her as a troll character. I see her being a troll character because of some of the things that I've seen you see that she can do in that trailer. Trust me, people who who learn her will have fun trolling the hell out of you, and you will be frustrated from beginning to end getting around her and those stars. You'll understand. And then Mario Kart 8, also pretty much an announcement that she was in that game as well, because I didn't really see any footage of her in it before, and they just showed off like some tracks during gameplay, but that's pretty much about it. So yeah, I think I'm really done. I ran through everything. They ran through a lot of stuff in this direct, and I'm but what bugs me is that they didn't say anything about X, nothing about Shin Megami Tensei versus Crossfire Emblem, or is it the other way around? There's quite a few games that we know are coming. They said nothing about at all. So I'm hoping that the next Nintendo Direct is going to have some stuff on those games, or at least they'll be like just like throw up the random trailer on us and be done with it. They haven't really said anything about the next Legend of Zelda game outside of, like I said, Hyrule Warriors, which that's a working title. It's not necessarily going to be named that at the end of the day, but I think it's a decent title. They could leave it like that. I really don't care. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I had to really go with. Thank you for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more of my stuff, and until the next time, enjoy your games.